studios is exhilarating and it's a blast. Everybody's having a great time and we're still at the halfway mark of the debate. Now, if you can see, the question still remains, who's going to win this competition? Can we hear it? Ladies and gents, it's time for us to go on to the third round of this competition. The third round of this competition is the most exhilarating round. It is the rapid fire. To start off rapid fire, let's talk to the first speaker, or rather the member from the proposition. It's Binura Gunasekara from Ananda College. Binura, what does it feel like to be here?
It feels awesome.
There's probably 700 boys here supporting for you. Do you think you're going to let them down tonight?
Never. Team Ananda is going to win this trophy tonight.
Do you think Binura is going to take this home tonight? Right, Binura, you're a debater.
Yeah.
You're also a national level wushu player.
Yeah.
Are you going to, resort to any violence tonight?
That, I don't think I'm going to go into those grounds tonight.
And I sincerely hope not. Right, the question is, who do you pick? Before you do that, history. Now, during the quarterfinals, during the semifinals, Lyceum went up against some great teams. At no point was Kavin picked to ask questions. Will you pick Kavin tonight?
We usually follow a procedure where we leave out the weakest link in the chain. So we might as well leave him out.
Is that the honest answer or is that the safe answer?
I just gave that answer from the bottom of my heart and I believe I'm honest.
Lyceum, do you think that's the honest answer? Binura, who do you pick tonight?
I'll be picking Sandamini, Sevmini and Hasita.
Sandamini, Sevmini and Hasita, you have been chosen for the rapid fire. Binura, the stage is yours, my friend.
Yep.
If US is centralizing the internet and you establish an international body to govern the internet, it is yet another centralized body.
Ladies and gentlemen, our solution is to have a centralized body where every stakeholder out there has a say. It's a model where Sri Lanka has a say, ladies and gentlemen. It's a model where China, India, Russia and all the countries out there who contributed towards the internet has a proper say. Unlike what we see today, where the US has omnipotent power to just walk in there and take away internet governance rights and violate people's rights, regardless of whether that website or that specific web portal is situated within the soil of the United States.
Isn't it a fundamental assumption on your part, sir, that if all these countries try to decide something, they will never be able to reach a unanimous decision and therefore it will be a failure?
Ladies and gentlemen, we believe in our solution that there will be a checks and balances system which will further ensure that no country will be given the chance to exploit their power. For example, what Lyceum is doing today, ladies and gentlemen, is they're trying to destroy the internet. The moment you decentralize power and give them to different countries and different stakeholders, as they say, that means that you are basically cutting apart the internet as we know today and just handing it out to different people, where at the end of the day the internet will cease to exist. What we will see is a bunch of different intranets, ladies and gentlemen.
So you're creating another system like the UN, and we have seen that the UN has been a major fail, ladies and gentlemen, and therefore...
Ladies and gentlemen, I highly disagree with what you just said. the United Nations organization was put down to ensure world peace. And since its very inception itself, ladies and gentlemen, we have not yet seen another world war. And that itself means that the UN is successful. Yes.
Sir, do you not believe that the nations such as the Russian Federation and China have been advocating for an international governing body? Do you not think that these nations will use this as means of legitimizing their guilt of suppressing their citizens?
Exactly, ma'am. When there's a centralized body, unlike what we see today, if China wants to exploit their power, we believe that other countries will not allow China to do so. But in their paradigm, ladies and gentlemen, you give part of the internet to China, and when you give that part to China, China can abuse it, China can exploit it, ladies and gentlemen. They can do whatever they want with it. The internet, as we know it, will no longer be the internet. It will be a bunch of different intranets that every country owns. Sri Lanka will have a small part of the internet, and US will, at the end of the day, still have the biggest
share. You realize,
share.
sir, that the same checking mechanisms already exist in the UN, and we still see that there are countries that are dominating the UN, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I already told you that the United Nations has been successful, and ladies and gentlemen, mind you, this debate is not about the solution. It is rather a debate for the need for a solution, ladies and gentlemen. And what they are doing today is that they are agreeing to the principles of side proposition. They agree to the fact that there is a problem with the current status quo. They agree to the fact that the ICANN is fundamentally flawed. And second of all, they are coming up with their own solution, ladies and gentlemen. And we believe side proposition still stands strong. Yes.
So why don't you realize, sir, that when this centralized body is all going to empower the nations and not the users, and our solution empowers the users and not the nations, sir?
Sir, ma'am, sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are to empower users, that's like, ladies and gentlemen, why does the government hold power over a resource like water? When the moment you give the right to control all the water resources in a country to different people, the person who has the most amount of resources within his allocation, he can abuse it, ladies and gentlemen. He can exploit it. And that's what's exactly going to happen to the internet when you decentralize it, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the proposition has failed to answer why and how this censorship and centralization, the replacement body, is not going to ensure that other countries violate this, ladies and gentlemen. They have also failed to show us how the users' freedom of expression, how the users' innovation will not be protected by this international body, ladies and gentlemen. They have also failed to understand our solution, which is empowering the users, ladies and gentlemen, where the existing checking mechanisms of the internet, the existing domestic laws will act as a checking mechanism on the internet and protect the users. We don't need another international body like the UN aggravating all the world problems in this world today. They have failed to show their burden of proof, ladies and gentlemen. There is a problem solution. There is a problem solution mismatch. They have identified the problem as centralization by the United States, and their solution is yet more centralization, ladies and gentlemen.
The heat is high, the intensity is high, the crowd is heated up. But on the other side of that, let me invite the representative from Lyceum International, our opposition, to face her selections today. Sandamini Athakada, inviting you on stage. Sandamini, this will be the one before the last round. A time to prove to the audience, to our judges, about your stance in the topic. And how do you feel like?
About the stance, personally and for the debate, we are completely for a free and open internet.
Exactly. And let's move on to your selections.
I select Gihan, Binura and Oshada.
Why not Litmal?
Because I believe these questions are very distracting and they go on and on.
Lyceum select any strategy in selecting their...
Well, Kavinder, our strategy is do your best to whoever comes on whatever they ask.
I'm in the selection.
Selection's no strategy whatsoever because we believe that whoever we pick, the questions are repetitive questions to which we have the answers.
Thank you, Sandhamini. And let us not forget that Litmal is, however, the captain of Ananda.